In this video, we're going to be going over your seller escrow package. Now, this is going to be a quick video, as quick as possible, just kind of summarizing the package that you will most likely be receiving, if not already, receiving in the mail as a physical document. Now, if you'd like a digital copy as well, please be sure to reach out to Escrow and let them know, or to your agent. So some of the documents that are most likely going to be included in this are, now understand first and foremost that some of these may not apply to your situation. This is only an example. So many of these items and paragraphs will not apply to your specific scenario, and some of them will. So this is just a general overview of what you can typically expect depending on your escrow package. So some of the documents included: 1099 information sheet, 593C, loan information sheet, FIRPTA, statement of information, and proceeds distribution or disbursement instruction. If you have any questions or concerns regarding any of these, don't hesitate to contact your escrow office. Not necessarily this one, again, this is just an example. So under your supplemental escrow instructions, make sure you review this entire document in its entirety. Make sure you address any concerns, or if you see anything that you think is incorrect or any errors, please bring that up to your escrow officer or to your agent. But please make sure you review this in its entirety. In general, the supplemental escrow instructions are going to take the terms that escrow has on hand from the RPA, the Residential Purchase Agreement, and they're going to transcribe them into possibly different wording than they were in the purchase agreement, but into terms that they can actually execute. So they're taking the information from your contract with the buyer, and they are putting it into this, and you are therefore then giving escrow the authorization to execute the terms that you and the buyer have agreed upon. So this will cover a lot of things, from the title policy to the close of escrow, the financing that you agreed on in the purchase agreement, the buyer's responsibilities for fire insurance, home warranties, whether or not there's a homeowners association, title companies, escrow companies, how they're going to prorate different items, etc. So please make sure you're taking a look at this in its entirety, review everything. If you have any questions, contact escrow or your agent. And understand that written instructions, company is authorized to draft and issue an escrow instructions, amendments, supplements, or cancellation instructions per the oral, written, or computer transmitted request, etc. So understand that escrow is the third-party go-in-between role for this transaction. They are helping facilitate everything that is going on from when you open escrow to when you close the deal. And so they're receiving funds from the buyer for the earnest money deposit, for closing funds. They're receiving the payoff amount for the final loan. They're receiving the new loan proceeds. They're paying out commissions. They're paying out contractor work that's done throughout escrow. They're paying out the HOA fees, prorated taxes, all this stuff. Escrow is the go-in-between handling everything. So just understand that as such, they do have positional authority, more or less, in writing amendments that, of course, both principals agree on. So if you ever, if there was a change in terms from the, that you agreed upon with the buyer and seller, between the buyer and seller, don't be surprised if escrow is sending you an amendment, or if you're seeing an amendment coming from escrow for updating those terms. Okay. Again, make sure you just review all of this. Some of it will apply and some of it will not in this example. So make sure you're reviewing the one that you have received a copy of. All right, getting down to this is this company's overview and their policies. This is one of the most important documents in your package. This is the grant deed. This is the instrument that actually transfers ownership of the property to the borrower. So you cannot close escrow, of course, without this, because there will be no transfer of ownership. So when you're doing this, please understand and note that a notary is required. Do not sign this until you're in front of a notary and you've gone through all the proper verification process with them. So make sure that this is all completed in front of a notary, and make sure that all the information on here is correct when completing it. If required, the FPS 1099 form for reporting proceeds from real estate transactions is something that escrow is going to need completed so they can submit to the IRS. pretty straightforward. If you have any questions about this or anything else, of course, reach out to your escrow officer. Real estate withholding certificate. Now, in this form, 593C, if you are exempt from paying capital gains or taxes otherwise on the proceeds of your property sale, then this is going to be the form that is going to help you walk you through whether or not you are exempt from that. The instructions for completing this are in the following pages. So make sure that you read each question and only check the applicable ones. Sometimes there might be a partial exemption or a full exemption. So, for example, if you own a detached single-family house and you've occupied the property as your primary residence for 2 out of the last 5 years, then as per IRC codes section 121, you should be fully exempt up to $250,000 for a single person and then $500,000 for a married couple, if I'm not mistaken. So, but please make sure you read the instructions to make sure that you're completing this as applicable. And if you have any questions about this as well and your actual tax liability, I would consult an attorney, a tax attorney, or your CPA. Please make sure you contact the correct authority or advisor to get the answers to that, because if your tax situation is unique, you want to make sure that you're talking to the right person that has the authority to give you the correct answer. Now, if it's important noting that if you are not exempt from it, then if you are making proceeds, typically a 3 1/3% of the entire sales price is going to be required as a withholding. So don't be surprised if escrow says they're going to have to withhold 3 1/3% of the sales price if you're not exempt as per the instructions here. And what they'll then do is give you a withholding certificate showing that that money has been held on the IRS's behalf, so that when it comes time to file taxes the following tax year for that current tax year, that if you did owe taxes, that will be applied towards that, or if you overpaid or you did not owe taxes, then you would be refunded that applicably when you're filing taxes. Make sure you fill this information out regarding your property and trust deed, if any, so that they can get the information for payoff for your loan. Also for your homeowners association, so they can work on transferring that over when you close on the sale. Very important information here. Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act, FIRPTA. If you are a foreign seller, then typically there are going to be certain restrictions or procedures required when you are selling a property. Now, this in and of itself, though, if you're not a foreign seller, this is just a certification that you are not foreign, and you're basically giving your affidavit that is correct. Next form is a statement of identity, and you want to make sure that you have this completely filled out. This is going to help them in closing the sale and for record-keeping purposes, and it's very important that they know who they are dealing with and that you are the correct person so that they can have correct record-keeping. So again, pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, address that. Instructions for proceeds, and of course this is important because once you close, if you are receiving net profits from this, then you want to make sure that you know and you've selected where it's going to go and make sure it goes to the right place. So that's pretty much the summary for what you can typically expect in your seller escrow package. If you have any questions at all, make sure you contact your escrow officer, and if they're not getting the answers for you, as always, reach out to us and we'll get you the answer you're looking for. Alrighty? Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.